Some people don't change, no matter how hard you try to help them. Have you ever felt that, no matter how hard you try to explain your feelings, to forgive, or to give new chances, everything seems to get worse? It seems like every time you do the right thing, they cut you deeper. This feeling of emotional exhaustion, of going around in circles and feeling manipulated, is not the result of your inability. It is the direct result of the emotional control that a narcissist tries to exert over you. Now, you may still believe that explaining yourself better, showing patience, or proving your intentions will make this person change. But the truth is that there is something even more powerful: the silence of his absence. Moving away is not weakness nor escape. It's an act of courage and self-protection that gives you back the control that the narcissist tried to steal. But why does it work? What happens when you cut that cycle and let the narcissist talk to themselves? That's precisely what we're going to explore in this video. I'll show you why walking away is the only effective way to break free from a narcissist's emotional control, and how that decision can completely destabilize them. If you've been through such an experience or are trying to get rid of this destructive cycle, this video is made for you. Therefore, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, seize this opportunity to do so. Your support helps this message reach more people who are facing the same situation as you. Now, to understand why walking away is so effective, it's important to know what really underpins a narcissist's manipulative behavior. And that's what we'll talk about next. Narcissists are not interested in true love, harmony, or understanding. What really sustains them is something much darker: the emotional control they exert over you. This confidence is the source of power that keeps the narcissist standing, the certainty that he can manipulate your emotions, influence your decisions, and trap you in a constant search for approval. Therefore, the more you try to prove that you are a fair, understanding, or willing to help person, the more he uses it against you. For the narcissist, their emotions aren't something to respect. They're tools they manipulate to reinforce their sense of power. This explains why the narcissist seems to act in such a contradictory way. Shortly, he compliments you, makes you feel special and irreplaceable. The next moment, he despises you, blames you, or makes you feel inadequate. This behavior isn't accidental, it's calculated. Alternating between moments of apparent affection and aggressiveness creates an environment of emotional instability. This confusion makes you feel stuck, hoping that if you try one more time, things will finally go back to that good phase he showed you in the beginning. This cycle is known as intermittent reinforcement, one of the most effective forms of emotional manipulation. It creates an addictive feeling that you need to prove yourself to regain the attention or affection that the narcissist purposely takes away from you. What the narcissist wants is to keep you emotionally weak, insecure enough that you keep trying to please them, but hopeful enough that you don't leave. This dynamic creates a dangerous dependency where you begin to doubt yourself. And the longer you stay in this cycle, the harder it becomes to realize that this relationship was never healthy. It was always about control. But what happens when you realize your mistake and start to pull away? It is currently that the narcissist reveals an even more unstable and dangerous face. When he realizes that he is losing control, he does not accept this loss calmly. He reacts. Understanding this reaction is crucial because it can be even more manipulative and destructive. This emotional escalation is the way he finds to pull you back, and knowing how to deal with it is essential to free yourself from this cycle of manipulation. Before we continue, write in the comments, "I choose my peace above the control of the narcissist." Share this message to reach more people, and subscribe to the channel to receive more inspiring reflections. Walking away from a narcissist isn't just an emotional decision, it's an action that completely disrupts the way they work. The narcissist depends on your reaction to feeling in control. He feeds on his anguish, his constant attempts to fix the relationship, and above all, the power he feels when he manages to manipulate his emotions. When you walk away, whether physically, emotionally, or by cutting off any form of communication, something powerful happens. It loses the source that sustained the manipulative cycle. Without your presence, the narcissist is faced with what he has always tried to avoid: inner emptiness. This emptiness is what he struggles to hide through manipulation, aggressiveness, and control. He fills this emotional hole by using his reactions as a mirror that reflects his false sense of power. Cutting off that emotional supply forces the narcissist to confront their own insecurity and fragility as they lose their source of validation. This is an experience that the narcissist can't bear because it means they no longer have dominion over you. The impact of these behaviors is so strong that many narcissists enter a state of emotional breakdown. They lose their balance, become disoriented, and in some cases, start to act even more intensely and aggressively. That's why withdrawal often triggers an unpredictable reaction. The narcissist realizes that he is losing the position of control he held over you and, therefore, desperately tries to pull you back. He may start bombarding you with messages, calling you insistently, or even showing up by surprise at the places you frequent. When these attacks prove ineffective, he may shift his tactics, such as portraying himself as the victim, disseminating false information, or employing individuals close to him to subtly manipulate you. This behavior isn't because he realized the mistake or because he cares. It's just a reflection of his desperate attempt to regain lost control. Withdrawal forces the narcissist to confront what he fears most, the feeling that he has no power over you. This loss of control completely destabilizes your behavior, which can make you even more unpredictable and manipulative. And it is precisely at this moment that the narcissist begins to react in an unpredictable and desperate way. And understanding this behavior can help you not fall back into the emotional traps that he will try to use. When a narcissist realizes that he is losing control, he does not accept this defeat easily. Instead, he intensifies his attacks, resorting to even more manipulative tactics to trap you emotionally. The final stage is the most dangerous phase of the cycle because this is where he reveals his true face: manipulative, ruthless, and desperate to maintain the power he had over you. The narcissist can use different approaches, alternating between aggressiveness, false promises, and extreme emotional manipulations. The narcissist calculates these strategies to confuse you, destabilize you, and most importantly, make you doubt your decision to walk away. One of the most common tactics is the outburst of anger. When he realizes that he can no longer control you, he tries to provoke you in every way possible. He may verbally attack you, recall past failures, or even spread lies to damage your reputation. The goal is simple: to make you lose emotional control and react. If you give in and respond with anger, fear, or frustration, he wins. Even if you're just defending yourself, the narcissist understands that they've managed to pull you back into the manipulative cycle. But when this tactic doesn't work, he can change his strategy. Instead of aggressiveness, he takes a more vulnerable stance, feigning regret and promising to change. He can cry, apologize, and swear that he now understands everything he did wrong. These words sound convincing, and many people end up believing that the narcissist has finally repented. But this is just another emotional manipulation. He's not really interested in change. He's just trying to find a new way to regain the control he's lost. If these promises do not have an effect either, he may resort to something even more extreme: the role of victim. The narcissist begins to disseminate the narrative that you wronged him, that you were cruel, or that he consistently strived for your best interests. He can manipulate friends, family, or close people to turn everyone against you. This tactic is cruel as it forces you into defensive mode. While you try to justify yourself or clean up your image, it feeds on your vulnerability and keeps you stuck in the emotional cycle it created. These advances don't happen by chance. They're a direct response to the fact that the narcissist realizes they're losing control. He knows that without keeping you emotionally engaged, he has no power left. This is the reason why so many people end up giving in at this time. The narcissist teases you, deceives you, or blames you, and you feel pressured to react. But that's precisely what he wants. Responding emotionally to these provocations only reinforces the manipulative cycle. Even if you're right, even if your words are fair, he'll interpret your reaction as confirmation that he can still control you. Therefore, the only effective way to protect yourself is to remain firm. No matter if he tries to hurt you with harsh words, false promises, or lies spread by those around him, the decision to walk away needs to remain firm. This feature is the difference between breaking free for good or returning to the manipulative cycle. This is the point at which many individuals make mistakes, as they fail to recognize the genuine risk associated with their emotional responses to these provocations. This is the trap that traps so many victims, but understanding this dynamic can help you not fall into it again. When you finally decide to walk away from a narcissist, it's natural to believe that they'll accept that decision and move on. But the reality is quite different. The narcissist does not accept losing control, and to regain it, he will provoke you in every possible way. And it is currently that many people end up giving in because they do not realize the real danger that exists in reacting emotionally. This is one of the most significant traps a narcissist can set. He knows that if he can get you out of control, you'll be precisely where he wants you to be: vulnerable, insecure, and emotionally involved again. The issue lies in the fact that explosive reactions are not necessary for him to achieve his goal. It is enough for you to respond with anger, guilt, or even a desperate attempt to defend yourself for him to feel that he has power over you again. When you react, even if it's just to justify yourself, you're demonstrating that the provocations worked. And for the narcissist, that's all he needs to reassert the control he was losing. He may, for example, unjustly accuse you of something serious. If you respond by trying to defend yourself, he doesn't listen to your words. He just realizes that he managed to throw you off balance. Or he may provoke you until you finally explode in anger. At this point, he assumes the role of the victim, accusing you of instability, and utilizes this outburst as proof that the issue has always been with you. There is also the more subtle emotional manipulation. He may show regret, feign vulnerability, and cry that he needs you. This attitude seems sincere, but if you react believing that he finally understands what he did, you end up opening up emotionally. And that's when he starts manipulating again. The narcissist knows your weaknesses and knows exactly what words, attitudes, and emotional triggers will provoke you. Therefore, the only way to disarm him is to break this cycle, and this requires something that seems difficult but is extremely effective: not reacting. This attitude is powerful because it completely thwarts the narcissist's strategy. Without his reaction, he no longer has the fuel to continue manipulating. If he yells, accuses you, or teases you, and you remain calm and steady, he loses the emotional control he was trying to maintain. If he tries to lure you in with empty promises and you refuse to get involved, he realizes he can't manipulate you anymore. This doesn't mean you have to accept abuse or remain passive in the face of injustice. It means you choose to protect your peace by not allowing it to dictate your emotions. The key is to walk away quietly and firmly. If he insists on provocations, don't argue. If he tries to manipulate his guilt, don't explain himself. If he threatens you or spreads lies, don't try to justify yourself to him. Its strength lies in silence and firmness. This is the response that the narcissist cannot bear. But how do you stand firm when he insists on teasing or manipulating you? There is an attitude that can disarm the narcissist silently and effectively. And that's precisely what we're going to talk about next. Indifference is one of the most powerful and yet most challenging weapons you can use against a narcissist. That's because his manipulative behavior only works when you react emotionally. The narcissist needs your attention, your anger, your fear, and even your attempt to defend yourself. These reactions are like fuel that keeps control of it active, and when you choose not to react, you cut off that source of power. This powerful attitude hits the narcissist where he fears most, losing control over you. But it's important to understand that indifference isn't just about ignoring or staying silent. It's an emotional posture that requires self-control and steadfastness. The narcissist lives under the illusion that he can control everything around him, and this control depends on his reaction. When you get angry, try to justify yourself, or beg for respect, he realizes that he still dominates you emotionally. Therefore, when you choose indifference, you interrupt the manipulative game. The narcissist relinquishes his perceived power and confronts an overwhelming reality: impotence. This attitude disarms each of the manipulations he tries to use. If he teases you with insults, he expects you to explode. He loses control when you don't respond. If he attacks you with false accusations, he expects you to justify yourself. He becomes irritated when you decline to have the conversation. If he attempts to portray himself as the victim, he anticipates that you will feel guilty and retreat. He understands that his manipulations are no longer effective when you refuse to back down. Indifference works because it takes away from the narcissist what he needs most to feel in control: his emotional energy. But it's important to remember that the narcissist won't accept this loss without a fight. When he realizes that his manipulations are no longer working, he will try to intensify his attacks. This is the most delicate phase because this is where many people end up giving in. In the face of their indifference, the narcissist can become more aggressive, spread lies, or even approach them with sweet words and promises of change. He can alternate between frustrated outbursts and moments of forced regret, just to push you back into the manipulative cycle. And that's why maintaining steadfastness is essential. Indifference isn't just a temporary attitude, it's a decision that needs to be sustained, even when the narcissist tries to hit you even harder. This posture requires self-control because you will often feel like reacting, whether to defend yourself, justify yourself, or even vent your frustrations. But the real power lies in resisting these provocations and keeping oneself emotionally distant. For this indifference to work in practice, you must avoid confrontations. If the narcissist teases you, limit yourself to neutral responses such as, "Okay, you are entitled to your opinion," or simply walk away without prolonging the conversation. Maintaining a calm and safe posture is essential because the narcissist is attentive to emotional signals. Any expression of irritation or discomfort will be interpreted as an opening to manipulate you. Another essential point is not to justify your decisions. If you have decided to walk away, do not feel that you need to explain this decision. Any attempt to justify yourself will give the narcissist a chance to engage you in endless arguments. Also, avoid sharing your feelings or expectations. The narcissist often uses moments of vulnerability to manipulate. Even when it seems like he's sorry or willing to change, avoid falling into the trap of exposing your emotions. This will only give ammunition for further manipulative advances. Finally, reinforce your boundaries firmly. If he continues to overstep his bounds, restate your position clearly and objectively. I've already mentioned that I'm not going to discuss it. And above all, don't give in. This posture doesn't mean you need to be cold or insensitive. It means you're choosing to protect your peace and not allow the narcissist to control your emotions. However, guilt stands in the way of this attitude's effectiveness. This guilt is often what makes people feel tempted to turn back. Even after you decide to walk away, you may find yourself thinking, "Did I overreact? What if he's really sorry?" Alternatively, you might consider giving it another shot. You may feel this way because the narcissist spends months or years convincing you that you caused the relationship problems. It distorts the facts and makes you doubt your perception of reality. This manipulation is so powerful that even when you know you did the right thing by walking away, you can still feel like you're making a mistake. But the situation is not your fault. It is a tool that the narcissist uses to keep you emotionally trapped. Overcoming this guilt is essential for your indifference to have an effect. Understanding that the manipulator planted this sensation gives you the clarity you need to maintain your firm position. And it's only when that guilt loses the power it had over you that something powerful happens. You finally start to reconnect with who you really are, free from the control, doubt, and emotional manipulation that the narcissist tried to impose on you. Guilt is one of the most effective weapons a narcissist uses to trap you in the cycle of manipulation. And often it's so subtle that you don't realize how much this feeling is influencing your decisions, your emotions, and even your identity. This guilt gradually accumulates over time. The narcissist implants doubts in your mind, distorts the facts, and manipulates your emotions until you start to constantly question yourself. Have I been unfair? What if I was wrong all the time? Or even worse, am I the problem? Such an approach is the essence of the manipulative cycle. The narcissist creates a narrative where he is the victim, and you are responsible for everything that went wrong. Even if he has hurt you, humiliated you, or lied countless times, he manages to turn the situation around so that you feel guilty for trying to defend yourself or for walking away. This feeling is devastating because over time, you come to believe that you deserve the treatment you receive. This mindset generates a dangerous emotional dependency where you feel that you constantly need to prove your worth or fix the relationship. This cycle is even more intense because the narcissist knows how to manipulate their deepest emotions. It explores their empathy, their kindness, and their genuine desire to resolve conflicts. And it is precisely this human side that he uses as a tool to keep you imprisoned. So even when you try to walk away, that guilt keeps pulling you back. You may find yourself thinking, what if he's really sorry? What if I had been more patient? Or maybe I'm overreacting. This doubt is what makes many people turn to destructive relationships, believing that they only need to try one more time for things to finally change. But this is not your fault. It is an illusion created by the narcissist to keep you emotionally weakened. Recognizing the truth is the first step to freeing yourself. The guilt you experience is not the result of a genuine mistake, but rather a manipulation. The narcissist manipulated you so that you felt responsible for behaviors that are actually their choices. For example, if he accuses you of picking fights, he's actually blaming you for his own frustrated outbursts. If he says you're insensitive or selfish, it's just a way of punishing you for trying to set healthy boundaries. These distortions aim to instill insecurity and self-doubt in you. Overcoming that guilt starts with an essential shift in your perception. You're not responsible for the narcissist's choices. His claim that your absence is harming him is another manipulation. The truth is, the narcissist's desperate reaction isn't a result of your withdrawal. It's a result of losing the control they had over you. You are not to blame for having defended yourself. You are not to blame for walking away. And you're certainly not to blame for wanting peace and emotional freedom. Accepting the truth is liberating because it gives you back something that the narcissist tried to steal, the right to believe in yourself. But this is where many people face a second challenge: emotional dependence. After so long being manipulated, you may have developed an emotional attachment to the narcissist, even if that relationship was marked by pain and suffering. This call is more common than it seems, because the narcissist's manipulation creates a vicious cycle. He hurts you, then pretends to repent and convinces you to stay. This false hope makes you end up believing that he can change, and this holds you back even more. Emotional dependence makes you believe that you need the narcissist's approval to feel at peace. Even if you know that this person is manipulative, This feeling makes you unconsciously seek validation that will never come. To break this cycle, it's essential to remember a simple but powerful truth. What you're looking for can't be found in the narcissist. You don't have to prove anything to him. You are not required to wait for him to recognize your mistakes or offer an apology in order to feel liberated. True liberation comes when you decide that you don't need that validation anymore, that you're enough, even if they never recognize your worth. This decision is powerful because it gives you back the emotional control that the narcissist tried to steal. When you choose to believe that your worth doesn't depend on their opinion, you free yourself from guilt and reconnect with your identity. This reconnection may be a gradual process, but it is profoundly transformative. That's when you start to see yourself as someone worthy of respect, someone capable of making decisions without the need to justify yourself to those who have always tried to destroy you emotionally. And when that guilt loses the power it had over you, something powerful happens. You finally begin to reconnect with who you really are. That's the real victory. Rediscovering your strength, your peace, and your ability to live free from the manipulation that has tried to define you for so long. True victory against a narcissist doesn't come when you expose them, confront them, or try to prove them wrong. True triumph is something much bigger. It's when you rebuild your life without it having any power over you. The narcissist invests time and energy manipulating you because he believes he can control you. He creates confusing situations to make you doubt yourself, manipulates your emotions to keep you vulnerable, and uses guilt to convince you that you need him. But when you finally break free from these emotional chains, something powerful happens. It completely loses the hold it believed it had over you. This freedom doesn't mean you forget or ignore the pain. It means you don't let it define you. The narcissist wants you to remain stuck in the past, reliving the wounds and carrying the insecurity he has planted. He expects you to spend your energy thinking about him, trying to understand his attitudes, or hoping that one day he will regret it. But the real victory happens when you decide to move on without needing explanations or excuses. This phase is when you stop seeking validation and start living with lightness, confidence, and inner peace. Reclaiming your life means rediscovering yourself, remembering what makes you happy, resuming your plans, and reconnecting with who you really are. That's the biggest defeat for a narcissist, because they realize that, regardless of what you do, you've chosen to break free. And that's why, in the end, what really scares a narcissist isn't you proving them wrong. It's finally living free of their control, happily and at peace. See you soon. Thank you.